Striker Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Warhammer Combat Cards, a card battle game featuring your favourite Citadel miniatures from the 40k universe. Free to download and play, link is in the video description below or on the channel homepage, and by using the unique link it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to this Codex review, or it's a Legion review really. These videos I've put out here, it's a series of videos just focusing in on each of the different legions that are available in the new Chaos Space Marines Codex. To see the review of the whole Codex, except the legions, but cover everything else such as the stat lines, the generic warlord traits, relics and so on. Stratagems, that's all in that Codex review, which is live on the channel. Also done the top 5 units videos, you can check that out as well. And then there's a series of Chaos Space Marine Legion videos. Just zoom in, take a look at each of the legions, see what each of those are able to do. So in this episode it is the Red Corsairs. So less stuff available for them than the other main legions. Just 2 pages, limited number of traits, relics and stratagems, but still a nice theme going on here and some unique stuff that's available for them. For discount 40k, check out the link below. For the Outpost, they do discount 40k, which is available across the UK and much of the European Union. If your order's large enough, they'll give you free shipping as well, even to many of the European Union countries as well, with duties paid on top of that as well. It's a great way of keeping the cost of the hobby down. So, Red Corsairs are consummate raiders with vast resources at their disposal, comprising traitorous individuals, each with their own tale of black infamy. They exist to plunder and reave wherever their predatory avarice leads them. Often far beyond their strongholds within the Maelstrom, countless renegades have pledged themselves to Huron Blackheart, and while some seek vengeance, others fight for nothing more than personal power. So they're pirates, basically. They are the Dark Eldar, the Drukhari of the Chaos Space Marine Legions. So that's the kind of style we're looking at here. We'll see if these extras help out with that. So they do get a Legion trait, so like a rule that's going to apply across the board for your army. Units of this trait are eligible to perform a charge and turn in which they're advanced, right, so they are swift, potentially across the board to get into close combat. The models of this trait count as 2 models when determining control an objective marker, or 5 models if they have a wounds characteristic of 10 or more, so swamping objectives as well. So, helpful enough. So, a swift attack, grab and hold the objectives, and kill everything is the idea with these. So I would say you'd be wise to try and build a list around that theme. So these guys are going to take the fight to the opponent. And if anything, if any faction out there more so geared up for more models, more units heading off towards the opponent, less stuff at the back, I think it'd be the theme of the Red Corsairs. So very aggressive on the attack with these. So warlord traits: Reaver Lord. At the start of the command phase, if this warlord is on the battlefield on a D6, roll a D6 on a 4+, you gain a command point, so useful. Angel of Hatred. Each time this warlord fights, if it made a charge move, war's charge will perform direct intervention, then until the fight is resolved, add 1 to the strength and attacks characteristic of the warlord. So that's okay. Dark Raider. Once per turn in the shooting phase, after shooting with a friendly Red Corsairs core unit within 6 inches of the warlord, that unit can make a normal move. If it does so, the unit is not eligible to declare a charge. So you could charge, shoot, and then move them away out of trouble, or move them on further up the board, something like that. Yes, has to be a core unit. So this is only going to work, I think, to get the best use out of this, if your warlord is going to hang around this unit throughout the game. Maelstrom's Bite. Red Corsairs. So now onto relics, and you get 3 options for warlord traits, which they're okay. So really, of all the legions so far, you are going to be leaning more on the regular Chaos Space Marine stratagems, traits and relics, because you are quite limited here, and these ones seem okay-ish. I think Dark Raider is quite cool if you've got a decent warlord and core unit to work together on that one. So relics: Maelstrom's Bite. So it's model of a combi melter only. So before selecting targets, Select one or both of the profiles below to make your attacks with. If you select both, each time attack is made with this weapon, it's -1 to the hit roll. If you've got a 2+ ballistic skill character, you're still going to hit quite nicely. So Warp Twisted Melter Gun, range 18, Assault 1, Strength 9, -4, D6 +2 damage. You don't have to get in close range for that, it's a nice stretch on that one. And the Mastercrafted Bolt Gun, range 24, Rapid Fire 1, Strength 4, -2, 1 damage. If it's worth the CP for that, God, I don't know. It's hard now because CP is limited at the start of the game, and this is one that you're going to spend at the start of the game or before the game begins. So, God, whether it's worth that. Armor of Badab, Red Corsairs Terminator model only. Armor of Badab Aura, whilst a friendly Red Corsairs core character unit is in 3 inches of the bearer. Terminator models in that unit have a 4+ invulnerable save, and non-Terminator models have a 5+ invulnerable save. So yeah, again, a character working with a large Terminator squad, or another squad to give 5+, but 4+ to Terminators is nice and tough. So you're starting to see character unit combos for things to work quite well for these. Traitors, Laurels, Red Corsairs model, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the bearer. Once for battle, if the bearer is selected for an epic deed stratagem, the stratagem costs 0 CP, and the bearer has the following ability: Traitors, Laurels, or whilst the friendly Red Corsairs core units within 6 inches of the bearer. Each time a combat attrition test is taken, the unit ignore any or all modifiers. So it's okay. Depends, I guess, what stratagems it's talking about here. And that'll be epic deeds, which are none of those, but it's epic deeds for the generic standard Chaos Space Marine stratagems. So they're giving you 4 stratagems here. It's 8 for the others, but 4 for these guys. Secure the prize, 1 CP. Use your stratagem in any phase. When a Red Corsairs core unit from your army is in range of an objective marker is selected as the target of an attack. At the end of the phase, each time an attack with a damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to a mod on that unit. Add 1 to any armor saving throws. So yeah, trying to protect, you've claimed an objective, you're trying to protect the unit that's on it, so that helps a little bit. Rain, Fire and Death, 2 CP. Use the stratagem in your commander phase. If a Red Corsairs character unit from your army is on the battlefield, select 1 point on the battlefield and place a marker on that point. At the end of your next commander phase, roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 inches of the centre of the marker, adding 1 to the unit being rolled for is within 3 inches of the centre of the marker, and subtract 1. The unit being rolled for is a character. On a 2 to 5 it's D3 mortal wounds, on a 6+ it's D6 mortal wounds. The marker is then removed. Use the stratagem only once. Yeah, it's the start of your next command phase. You've got the opponent's got a chance to move away from that. So yeah, okay. And then Hounds of Huron, 2 CP. Use your stratagem in the fight phase after Red Corsairs bike a unit from your army has fought. If the unit is within engaged range of enemy units, it can fall back as if it were your movement phase. Otherwise, it can make a normal move as if it were your movement phase. Okay. Yeah, so pull away basically. Yes. No, just chewing this one through. Yeah, this one's excellent because using the fight phase, you've got a really good unit of bikers. You slam into a target, you do all your attacks, and it says unit from your army is fought. So you fight first. If this is the situation, you fight first, and then you just fall back, get out of there. So it's like basically a really strong hit and run. If you wipe your target, say you wiped out your target in that combat, you can still play this and then make a normal move. Now the really strong thing about this is chance to pull away before you get hit hard or hit back by your opponent. And the other thing is the scale of the movement on bikers is vast. You know, they can make a normal move, so they could make a normal move plus the advance. They could really relocate very quickly indeed, very quickly indeed. And the other thing about that is if they do pull away, it can pull back. Yeah, it can fall back far enough to potentially get away from the opponent if they try and chase you up on the next turn. But yeah, I would say if I was a Red Corsairs player, just because of that stratagem, I would seriously look at taking Chaos Space Marine Bikers. Fits the Pirates kind of theme, it's sort of a fast hit and run, highly manoeuvrable type unit, and then I would run that, and I call the unit the Hounds of Huron, and just use that stratagem throughout the game. Very nice indeed. Yep, I think that's really good. Just have a little look. Chaos Bikers. I think they're in need of a resculpt, I believe. I could be wrong on that one, but it could be the older models. Less Games Workshop have redone them. 3 wounds each, toughness 5, 3 attacks each. You can give 2 Chaos Bikers special weapons. You can give them combi plasma weapons. They can take, the Biker Champion can take a melee weapons. Right. Any number of Chaos Bikers can have their bolt pistol replaced with a Starter's Chainsaw. Right, okay. So you can't really equip them that great in close combat. You'd obviously give them all Starter's Chainswords. So you're looking at like 4 attacks each. Ugh. Give a really good weapon to the champion. God, I don't know, because they're quite tame for combat is the problem. Because they're just standard bikers, nothing special about them, really. You can go for units of 9. You could just try and slam into the opponent with tons of attacks. For it to work, for this to work, you want them to not just bounce off stuff in close combat. It's a waste of time otherwise. They need to hit quite well. You need to think of stuff that's going to help them with their hit rolls, wound rolls, and a bit of AP minus if possible. So any kind of abilities being granted to them through stratagems, auras, whatever it is, just to give them as much of a boost as possible. Yeah, the other option is, I'm just sort of chewing over this one because it is, the potential for it is very good, it's quite unique. Are you able to take, just having a little look. Yeah, the Lord Discordant's not a biker keyword, I didn't think he would be. I'm just wondering. No, they haven't got one. Oh, tragic. There's no Chaos Lord on bike. No, you don't get it. Oh dear, right, so there's no, because you could have done that on it just as a biker unit, so it could have been like a really souped up character just to pull away, but you can't do that either. So if you think bikers hit hard enough, then by all means go for it. Perhaps against hordes, but then would they be scared of fighting against hordes and not worrying about having to move out of close combat? So it's a funny one, that one, because the unit's low impact. It's a fantastic stratagem though. Raid supply lines, use the stratagem at the start of the reinforcements 2 CP. Start the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase. If Red Corsairs Warlord from your armies on the battlefield, if it's the first or second battle round, you can select one of your opponent's strategic reserves or reinforcement units. The unit cannot arrive on the battlefield this phase for any reason, even if it has a rule that states it always arrives on the battlefield during a specific round, e.g. drop pod assault. You can only use your stratagem once. Okay, so we'll check out the match play secondary. So we'll see if this is any good here to match in with the style of the pirate theme for Red Corsairs. So if you select this objective, Red Corsairs infantry and bike units from your army can attempt the following actions. Again, it's pushing you towards the theme of taking bikers. Raid and Reeve action. One or more Red Corsairs infantry or bike units from your army can start to perform this action at the end of the movement phase. Each unit from your army that starts to perform this action must be in range of a different objective marker that has not been raided by your army. So there is that incentive, already the theme to push out, clear and hold objectives, go aggressive, so this is an objective to match that. A unit cannot start this action whilst there are enemy units, excluding aircraft units in range of the same objective markers. You've got to clear the objective. The action is completed at the start of the next command phase. You've got to survive on top of that objective, or it's completed at the end of the battle, whichever comes first, provided the unit performing it is still in range of the same objective marker. If completed, that objective marker is said to have been raided by your army until the end of the battle. The unit that performed the action is said to be carrying spoils of war. Each time a unit from your army completes the raid and reeve action, if the objective marker that was raided as a result was wholly within your own deployment zone, you get a point. If the objective marker is wholly within your opponent's deployment zone, you get 3 points, otherwise it's 2. So it's quite low, really, and you're going to struggle to get a lot of points. But hang on a second, a bit more. At the end of the battle, score 1 victory point for each Red Corsairs unit from your army that is carrying spoils of war. So you got those units that did that action need to then survive. You score 2 victory points instead if that unit or the transport model it's embarked within is wholly within your own deployment zone. So you've then got to get back to your deployment zone. That's tricky. God, that's a tricky one. That is tricky to get points for that. Your whole battle plan would need to revolve around the secondary, and is it important enough to do that? A challenge, that one, I think, if you're going to try and do that, but if you do take that secondary, it's going to determine the way you play the entire battle, I think, if you're going to stand a chance of picking up enough points. Because you're not going to take a secondary and try and get a few points, you need to get like 10 points at least, something like that. So, difficult enough. Tricky one here for the Red Corsairs. Leave your own comments and feedback what you think about these guys. Obviously half the stuff that the other legions get is what's here decent enough to help them out. It's something. But I think it's only fair to say that the other legions are a bigger advantage for sure, and a lot of the other legions are looking stronger with the bonuses that they're receiving. But there's some stuff here for Red Corsairs. Be interested to hear what anyone has to say. Perhaps you are a Red Corsairs player, and let us know what you think of what's been seen here in this video. Keep a lookout for more reviews on the channel. Check out the other videos in this series and the Outpost for discount 40k. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.